Hello and welcome back to the Puncher's Chance podcast with myself, Sam Hill, and as always, I'm joined by
Harry Tovey
and
Ben Thomas.
In today's episode, we're going to be reviewing the Dan Azeez Joshua Buatsi boxer card, reviewing Conor Benn Pete Dobson card, looking at the audio clips from the world of boxing, talking about a recent fight that's been announced coming up in the future, and then previewing ahead to next weekend's fights. What we are also going to be doing is an extra episode this week. We're going to be talking about some of the stuff going on in Saudi, some of the stuff with Fury Usyk. But before that, you boys might not know this. This is a very special episode, and do you know why that is? Have you got any guesses?
Special episode. What's this now? Number 12.
It's got nothing to do with numbers.
No. Don't know.
It's something to do with last weekend's fights.
We were all right.
We all had a clean sweep. The first podcast in which we got every single prediction.
We do know
fight.
our boxing.
Yeah, we know boxing.
Fool.
Harry's going to call him out. Yeah, no, we know boxing. We got them all right.
Happy days.
It's nothing to do with the fact that all the matchmaking was slightly one-sided.
We'll forget about that.
Yeah, but, we did a good job. And speaking about, the slightly one-sided matchmaking, let's move on to the boxer card first. Obviously, in the preliminaries, opened up with Fran Hennessy. We were a little bit surprised, I think, it's fair to say, that she was fighting in the preliminaries and not as a part of the main card.
That would have been a good way to start the main card, though. She walks out quite well, don't she? She has a good walkout. But, yeah, what was it, 60-53 on the scorecard? So, never one-sided affair, but, oh well.
Yeah, and I think, well, first of all, her opponent, Valda Benito, tried to, go for a dance battle at the start. She also danced out on the walkout, which we weren't expecting. God. I also found out Valda Benito is a I think she's like a semi-pro footballer or something on the side, as well as being a boxer. I heard something about it on the Sky Sports commentary and was like, what? So, there's that. But yeah, Fran got the comfortable victory, did what she had to do, went the distance. Anything else to say really, or is it just another impressive performance as she looks to build on what's been a pretty successful first 5 months to her career, 3-0?
Yeah, it was a good performance again. I was quite surprised, like you said, that I think they put her fight on YouTube, didn't they, not actually on TV. With the personality of her, I thought they'd use it as a bit more of an opportunity to build her, because I think she'll be a good asset for boxer going forward. But yeah, another win anyway.
Yeah, never mind. And then moving on up, we obviously had was it Jamie TKV? Jamie TKV. Here we go. Kostiantin Dobyshenko. Yeah, maybe something like that. Another one. Pretty comprehensive victory. Pretty comfortable. Obviously went the distance. In that one, TKV getting the victory. 6-1 now he is. So he's obviously got that one on his record, but he is starting to build himself up. It was a reasonably impressive performance, but not one quite as impressive or quite as talked about certainly than the next one, which is obviously Ben Whittaker's victory over Khalid Graidia. It was a Ben Whittaker victory, wasn't it? It was everything you almost expected it to be, down to the T. What's your thoughts on it, Harry? What's your thoughts on Ben Whittaker? Because I
look forward to his fights, right? But when he gets in the ring and you see him dancing around, bloody backhanding his opponent, you're thinking, is this really professional boxing? Or is he just going in there like a misfits boxer and just going in there for entertainment? I've seen, before everyone go, I've seen the video of him with Felix Cash. Okay, he was doing it against him, but let's see it, because what was it? His opponent was 41 years old, the 24th best light heavyweight in France, and the holder of a now 10-14-5 record. Let's see it against someone a bit better than him, because he's taken a mick a bit, in my opinion.
Yeah, and I mean, people are. I think the whole story they were trying to peddle was that Gradia's fought some top fighters such as Azeez, and he's taken them the distance. So maybe we need to, certainly the fact that he finished him is maybe impressive. But what did you think, Ben? Are you a fan of the surgeon, or are you on the train of thinking that he needs to stop battering people, or certainly fight someone his own level?
No, I enjoy watching him, to be fair. It was like on Saturday, it was probably a bit too much at points with him spinning in the ring and everything. I think he's getting a bit of a he's starting to get a bit of a mixed reaction now, where some people are loving it and some people are hating it, but he's getting people talking. I think that's the main thing for him. People are going to want to watch him fight. And like you said, he has fought Dan Azeez, took him to a points decision, and on Saturday, Whittaker made it look really easy. He had no issues in it. Stopped him in the 5th round, I think it was.
Mm-hmm.
So if he's doing that against someone that Azeez was in the main event, and he couldn't get him out of there, but it'd be interesting. I think he needs now the step up, and to see, once he's in there with a better level of opponent, see what he's like then, once someone is actually fighting back against him instead of just basically being a punching bag for him.
Yeah, I tend to agree, and I think I sort of flitter between being like, yeah, he's mint, he's great, he's such good entertainment, and then sort of falling into that sort of, these guys, the sort of journeyman, as they call it, turning up, they almost turn up knowing they're going to lose, and then doing that. And the other thing that does my head in is Sky have done it. Ben Shalom said it. Every person possible said it. That it was a surgical performance. Now I get it. It's the surgeon nickname, but if your surgeon was like cutting out your heart, doing a little spin, backhanding a kidney into you, you'd be fuming. It's just like, it's so frustrating. That was a surgical performance, wasn't it, Ben? No, he took the piss. Just tell him he took the piss.
How many times did a referee stop him and say, if you do this one more time, there'll be a points deduction? Because he was like backhanding him and slapping him and all. It's not boxing at the end of the day, is it? He's not taking his career seriously yet, because he doesn't have to. Because he's going in there against people he knows he's going to beat. I want to see him in there now next. I thought the loser of Buatsi Azeez should fight him, so... I think Azeez, Whittaker, so... I
think I want to see the Lewis Edmondson fight, because there was a bit of bite there. Sorry, after Whittaker's last fight, and they were going back and forth, and obviously Edmondson, I think, has got an 8-0 record now, so it would be seen as a step up, or certainly a sideways step for Whittaker, before maybe he takes someone like Azeez. But I think the thing with Whittaker is you can't doubt that he has some serious talent. Like there was the bit he was up against the ring, or up against the ropes, and he was just the head movement, and the guy just couldn't touch him, and then he span out brilliantly. He had him up against the ropes, and you thought, that's mint, and then he's just danced backwards, and it's like, if you just whacked him, then you'd have been like, everyone would have been going mental. If someone else had done that, you'd be going, this is special. But then obviously he dances and the ref has a go at him. So
yeah, I think some people just want to see him be a bit more clinical with his fights, and just, there's no doubt he probably could have got him out of there quicker if he wanted to. But yeah, I think the Edmondson fight makes sense next. A bit of a grudge match between the two of them by the looks of it, and it'll be nice to have someone in there with him who's going to fight back and give him a bit more of a test, and then if he can get through that, then you're probably looking at Dan Azeez or something, like building him up, and it'd be interesting, because obviously he'd be, if he can get a world title level fights, he's looking at like Bivol and Tovey, if they are still around by the time he gets here. He's not going to be the same in the ring against them, is he, surely?
No, you're not doing that against Beterbiev. You are getting...
Beterbiev will be doing it against them,
battered. Yeah. And then I suppose to move up to a fight that was almost the exact opposite of this fight. Obviously, Caroline Dubois, another really highly thought of up and coming. I mean, I say up and coming. She's got a world title, so she's not so up and coming, but she's sort of considered up and coming in women's boxing. And again, it was a comfortable and pretty rudimentary performance. She got the victory on the points in the end. Were you boys impressed with her, or were you maybe slightly disappointed considering some of the noise we've seen around her?
No, it's been a good week from her. I think it's been nice to see her come out of her shell a lot more, be a lot more confident compared to when she first started fighting, and she's showing a bit of aggression and stuff now towards in her fight. There was a bit of needle between the two of them throughout fight week. It was a bit of a shame that she couldn't get her out of it, finish her off earlier, but you're not going to get that in every fight. I don't think, some fighters are going to go in there and probably want to try and survive, not get knocked down. But her opponent, in all fairness, Reyes, did come to win the fight, not just take part. Obviously it was for the IBO world title, I think Ben Shalom did say something about him trying to get another title on the line for the fight, but they couldn't. I think it was the IBF, because it looks like Katie Taylor is vacating them all. So, but yeah, I think it's just about building her now, and it looks as if she's going to try and go for the other world titles.
Well, she's got the experience now of going 10 rounds, because it's back-to-back fights now, I think, that she's gone the distance, so she's got that in the bank. So for a young fighter, I think you need those big, long distance fights just to get that more experience. And yeah, 9-0 now, 5 KOs. Does she take on Mikhail Mayer, Lauren Price? Who knows? All different names being thrown about at the moment, but
Rhiannon Dixon's another one for the...
Yeah.
Because I think Rhiannon Dixon is mandatory for one of the belts.
Okay.
So I think it could be them two fighting for a vacated belt, possibly.
She's better than her brother as well at trash talking, in my opinion. Yeah, the way
she is. She's got
they were
that
going
bit
back
about
and forth. Fair play.
Are you saying that Daniel Dubois does not have that bit about him with the I'll be your daddy and all of that stuff? No?
No, she doesn't perform it in front of the mirror at 11 o'clock in the morning before they weigh in. No.
That's fair enough. And then the next fight, I think, was probably the fight, bar the main event, that I was looking forward to most. Certainly seemed the closest matchup, and I think we saw that for what we got of the fight before the 5th round stoppage, for a dislocated shoulder.
Azim thought it was a knockout stoppage.
Yeah, I think I've got the audio clip late. No, I don't actually. I didn't include it. But yeah, he reckoned he thought he was getting counted for something, and that's why he did the backflip when he won, because he was like, "Hey, I've won it."
Yeah, I think the argument he made was he caught him with a shot as he was going down, and he thought he'd dropped him, not realising that he was injured. But they did give her as a count out because he took a knee. So, but with a dislocated shoulder, you're not going to do much. It looked in a bad way.
Yeah. It looks sore.
I think this is Paulson's second fight as well, where his shoulder's gone, and I think he did it against Petitjean, but he still won. So I think this time around it was a bit too bad.
I think once it goes, it often goes a little bit easier the next couple times, and it's a shame because, like I said, it was shaping up to be one of the better fights. And I think what we saw from
was the people's main event
was a really good fight. Actually, I thought it was a high level fight. It was pretty close. I think Azim was edging it, but it was close, and certainly, neither fighter were out of it. It's just a shame. I mean, Azim, I'm happy for Azim, and obviously he can now move on and do bigger and better things, hopefully. But it would have been nice for him to defend this. I say the proper way, but without it being an early stoppage.
Yeah, he never looked in trouble in there, or against. To be fair, it is against probably a bit more experienced and unbeaten fighter, even though Paulson probably hasn't had the greatest of opponents in his record. But
it was the first time Paulson's fought outside of Denmark as well. So
I was having a quick look as well at BoxRec with the British super lightweights, and they've got Adam Azim ranked at number 4 now. So it would be interesting to see. O'Hara Davis and Harlem Eubank were 2 of them. I think Jack Hartrell was the other.
Harlem Eubank could be the fight to make.
Well, would be an interesting one. Or I think he was even ranked. I looked at European. I think he was ranked 6th or 7th. And he only had Sandor Martin and Josh Taylor, I think, were the other ones that were above him. So
2 big names.
Yeah, if they're gonna progress him to one of them, it's a big jump up to one of them lot for a fight, I think. But he's looked impressive so far. He hasn't really struggled in any of his fights. He's had some good knockout wins. I think it might be time to sort of push him now and really test how good he's gonna be.
Yeah, it'd be nice to see. It'd be nice to see him step up to that next level and achieve it. And I think he's probably the sort of brightest star coming out of Boxer at the minute. They've got a lot of fighters at a similar sort of level in their career where they're still building them up. And that can be a little bit frustrating because, I think that's the argument, is that this fight was a little bit, or this card was a little bit one-sided to the Boxer fighters. But I do think, if these guys weren't all under the same promotion, then you wouldn't be questioning it because they are at that point in their career. It's just a shame that they're all building them up at the same time. But maybe we'll see, in a year, a year's plus time, we start to see people like Whittaker and Fran and Azim obviously getting some bigger fights and getting some difficult fights, and if we were to see, a number of these names on the same card again, I'd have no complaints at all. It's just, getting them a better part of their career certainly would be interesting. And then, speaking of two fighters at a different part of their career, Dan Azeez, Joshua Buatsi.
What a fight. What
a scrap. I mean, I think you could, it's certainly up there for a fight of the year contender so far. I think Buatsi always looked the stronger of the two, or the better of the two, but neither fighter ever looked out of it. They were trading well. They both looked knackered by the end of it. I think the last couple rounds were a bit slow.
The last round they went for, I think, and
last 10 seconds, Buatsi went, right, come on, meet me in the middle and let's just swing. And I think that's what you get when you put two mates in the ring, because they are friends at the end of the day. They always produce a good fight because it's a pride thing. But yeah, it was pretty much one-sided, wasn't it? With, what was it, two scorecards scoring at 116, 110, and the other guy scoring at 117, 109. I think it's a fair assessment of the fight, yes, but I would have given Azeez maybe one or two more rounds, because
you've got to filter the knockdowns into that as well, which I thought were a bit harsh.
Were they a slip though?
Yeah, they did look like
that's the question marks there.
The ring just seemed bizarrely slippy, which is a weird thing, but then I guess they're both on the same ring, and Dan Azeez didn't catch Buatsi off balance, so if you're slightly off balance and you get caught with a shot and you fall over, it is a knockdown.
It was a sharp right hand, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Floored him, but I thought he fell to the ground quite funny as well, because he looked like he was jumping into a swimming pool.
Yeah, Tom Daly.
Fell. Yeah.
Now obviously Buatsi's got that British and Commonwealth title. What's next for Buatsi? Is he looking up towards some of the title holders in that division? Obviously, it's a very difficult division, and you've got Beterbiev, Bivol fighting in June. Or, I think a lot of people are throwing out that Anthony Yard fight. Anthony Yard's fighting next weekend against someone not anywhere near the level of Buatsi, but, we'll get onto that later. Is that the fight you want to see? Do you think that would have enough of the sort of thrill factor, the bite, everything that you'd want to see from a domestic clash?
Yeah, I think he's obviously the mandatory now after winning on Saturday for the winner of Beterbiev and Bivol, but I think Anthony, obviously with them two, we'll go on to it in a different podcast, but them two look set to fight in June.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a good stopgap for him would be the Anthony Yard fight, maybe, to get himself prepared for that fight, because if he can't get past Anthony Yard, I don't think putting him in there with either of them two is going to fare any better. You also got the issue with the Anthony Yard possible fight on Matchroom and Queensbury with Callum Smith, so whether he goes there instead of the Buatsi fight, but we don't know what's happening with that 5v5 card yet, whereas with Buatsi and Yard, that you could sort of make are now ready to go.
I think with Yard, he's already fought Beterbiev, so he's got the experience of going up, so it's a big test for Buatsi if he is to take that Yard fight, but yeah, I think that's the one to make next, because that makes more sense. I think they're both from South London, so another derby, it should be another firecracker of a fight, to be honest.
Yeah, and obviously I think there's been a lot of talk about Bivol and or Beterbiev moving up to cruiserweight division. And while those guys kind of have a foothold on the division, and I don't really see anyone beating them, if they do move up to cruiserweight, then it sort of creates a gap for someone like Buatsi to then go on and get that world title that, if both Beterbiev and Bivol didn't exist, you would imagine he would be getting that world title
already
fight.
Be world champion, yeah.
Yeah, or if one of them existed, he would be getting the fight, up against them. But yeah, that's definitely an interesting one to look out for in the future, and another entertaining boxer card, if not just leaving you wanting a bit more from some of the fighters and some of the fights in terms of matchup. And then this one, the next fight, over to Vegas. We're just going to hand over to you, Harry. Obviously,
how good was the Romford Bull? He looks so good. From his debut. Oh, let's be honest, he's a different beast now, ain't he?
Your list doesn't look as bad now, I don't think.
Yeah, third best heavyweight in the world.
What's his name? Shut up, whoever that guy was who said I was a fool. I know my boxing. Listen, I won't get carried away, but whoever he fights next on this Matchroom versus Queensberry card. I think if Eddie Hearn puts Johnny Fisher in, I think it's looking like a Matchroom easy win, because as soon as he hurts his opponent, he's on him. And for someone who's so respectful, it's mad. The Romford Bowl is certainly in putting his name into the heavyweight division, and it's good to see.
Yeah, I think obviously making your American debut as well is the perfect way you wanna. We've seen American debuts not go as well for certain heavyweights in the past, but yeah, that was pretty much perfect.
An American debut at 12:30 in the afternoon as well. So that was the first time that he's fought in America, but that's the first time he's waking up at 8 o'clock and he's already making his way to the arena.
Yeah. Did they say anything about why they put it on early?
I think it's because of the Buatsi Azeez. They wanted to
clash with it.
Yeah. I mean, it was,
or something to do with Conor Benn not being allowed to box in the UK, and they want him on prime
UK
time,
telly,
UK time. So
yeah, it was probably something that Ben put in to get his fight, maybe, I don't know. But the performance from Fisher was...
It was good.
Yeah, very, very impressive, and it's answered the question, who wins in a fight, a bull or a bison? Comfortably a bull is the answer to that one. Undoubtedly.
Who do you want to see him up against next, though? Johnny Fisher, because there's talks now of David Adelaide, because David Adelaide did it in 2 rounds against, what was the guy's name?
Dimitri Bezos, or
Bezos, whatever it is. But yeah, I think Adelaide probably is the next fight to make, but Solomon Dakers could be another good fight. But yeah, I think what they need to do now with Johnny Fisher is keep him active. I think that's the most important thing this year. I want him in the ring at least 4 times, maybe, just to keep him ticking over. And I think Eddie Hearn was talking at the end of the fight that he's going to go to Manchester in April, and then he wants him to main event in London in the summer. So big times ahead for the Romford Bowl.
Yeah, it would be good. And I think, we talked about it quite heavily in the Jared Parry episode, which if you haven't seen already, it was a couple episodes ago now, but it was a really interesting interview, and we talked about some of the 5v5 fights, and Johnny Fisher's name was one that came up quite a lot. So certainly check that out, and maybe one in the future we can talk about and put his name in the hat for. And then moving on up, someone that did get a victory, maybe not the most impressive victory or quite as impressive a victory as maybe people expected. Conor Benn obviously beat Peter Dobson. It was a points decision, wasn't it, in the end?
Surprise points decision, in my opinion. I thought Ben might get him out there quite early, the way he started, how quickly he started.
I think that's what he's been aiming for, isn't the knockout wins, but he seems to have, I don't know what it is, but he seems to have lost his power.
It's bizarre, that, isn't it? How he's just lost his power. No,
maybe he didn't have scrambled eggs in the week, maybe.
He has been taking shots from pretty much everyone else in our weight division after that fight. He got Gervonta Davis, I think it was.
Was it Devin Haney's father
Shakur
as well?
Stevenson, Devin Haney's father, Michael McKinson.
Bill Haney interrupted the post-match press conference or whatever, and post-match, and just came in and was like, "Oh, I can't remember what he said."
Good to meet you.
Yeah, I think it's a sign that all of these fighters are jumping on now, trying to get that fight, because none of them.
He's a big name in boxing.
Yeah, and if nothing else, if you're not going to be the guy that everyone loves, then you might as well be the guy that everyone hates, because there's no point being someone who people don't really care about. That's not going to sell. Whereas if you are someone that hates, then it's going to work in your favour, because people are going to want to fight you, or certainly people are going to want to watch you get beaten, and when you don't, they'll tune in the next time to make sure it happens. So yeah, it's an interesting one with Conor Benn, and we've spoken about it quite a lot. We've poked quite a lot of fun at him, so we won't. Any other cheap shots while we're talking on it, or we?
Well, not cheap shots, but again, the first name Eddie Hearn mentioned. I love Eddie Hearn. I'm a big fan of Eddie Hearn, but the first name he mentioned again was Chris Eubank, asking him why he wouldn't.
That fight's gone now, I think.
But we had the fight there and ready to go, and as much as we want to back Conor Benn, the reason that fight didn't happen is because of Conor Benn. So
yeah.
Bear in mind, you're going to clip this up later with him saying that.
Yeah,
you're more than welcome to. But
get the hate on him. Ben hates Conor Benn. That's the title.
No, I like Conor Benn, but at the end of the day, he's the one that's putting himself in that position, and it's difficult for him because I don't know whether he can really prove any innocence with it now. But he just needs to get back to boxing, I think, and he needs a big fight and a big win, because a lot of these fighters are looking at him and thinking they can make their name now off the back of him, whereas 18 months, 2 years ago, when he was going into that Chris Eubank fight originally, I think everyone was looking at him as the next up-and-coming fighter. Obviously, he's already got a big name, but now he's sort of taking that step back, and yeah, he needs something big to rebuild, I think.
Yeah, for sure. You've got me worried, though, because I probably eat like 15, 16 eggs a week. Am I going to be in trouble?
Yeah,
or is it? I only scramble them once or twice a week, so
but
am I going to be all
your
right?
power, though, have you? Like he has.
I haven't got it in the first place. I didn't have it to lose. I didn't have any power to lose. But
what was quite funny as well after the fight, mind, they interviewed Conor Benn and said, have you got any respect now for Peter Dobson? And he said, I respect any man who steps in the ring, but in terms of a man, no, not at all.
Fair
so
enough.
There's still a bit of a...
Yeah.
And then when he was talking about Chris Eubank, he said he's a pussy. So...
It's still a fight I really want to see.
It's a big fight. That's a stadium fight.
It's the names, the history, the domestic clash of it all.
It's got everything. It
you
really
saw
does.
the fight poster.
Yeah.
Eubank Jr. and Ben were at the top, and then they had their both fathers fighting at the bottom back in the day. So it needs to happen, but I don't see it happening because I don't see Conor Benn fighting in the UK ever again.
Yeah, it might be just one of those where the politics of boxing, gets in the way a little bit. And then to move on to some of the audio clips, to start off with, we've got something sort of on the complete opposite side of the spectrum from Conor Benn and or Chris Eubank at the minute. We've got Dan Azeez speaking after the fight and giving his thoughts on the fights and what he had to say about the whole fight between him and Buatsi.
I guess he's just a better man tonight. I can't say one particular thing. Today he came and performed. He's a great athlete, both in and outside of the ring. I respect him a lot. He's helped me in the past, and like he said, it was just business today. And I'm just glad we came out and put on a decent show for the fans that came out to support.
Yeah. I mean, you said from the start we're close enough friends. Do you now hope that he goes on and wins a world title, and then down the line one day maybe you could do it again with a world title at stake?
Yeah, maybe we'll see what the future holds, but he's just won tonight and he deserves whatever's coming next.
So I think we've spoken quite a lot about obviously Buatsi possibly getting the world title shot and how they were mates and it was very respectful and stuff. But is that a fight you'd like to see again if the circumstances allowed, or do you think it would deter from what a brilliant fight the first one was, and maybe you just be wishing for something to repeat itself that might not?
I want another 12 rounds, to be honest. I think, I was quite good as well after the fight when they were both doing their interviews. That Buatsi kept calling Azeez back and saying, no, we've put this fight together. We're best mates. Stay here with me. You deserve this, the spotlight as well as me. But, yeah, I want to see it again.
Yeah, neither of them have come out badly with it, they really. Buatsi's going to go on to possibly have a world title fight, and Azeez, he lost, but it wasn't an awful performance from him really, and he'll go on to do other things. I think they'll probably separate at this point and go their opposite ways, but maybe one day if Buatsi's got that world title and Azeez has built himself back up after that loss, then you could see the two of them go at it again for a world title fight, which would be huge again, and another big fight for Boxer if they can keep hold of both of them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think without a doubt it's one I want to see again just because of the quality of the fight. And I don't, you talk about with rematches, it's like everyone always says, now they know each other, they know what to expect, then maybe it'll be a different fight. But these guys knew each other going into the fight, which I think is what made it such a good fight. It wasn't
inside out.
It was less of a sort of chess match and a tactical battle, and it was more of just a scrap, which is why it was so entertaining. So there's no reason why, if you didn't run it back, a very similar, if not the same outcome would happen again, where it would be a really close fight and the guys would be going back and forth, and that's what we want to see. And then moving on to another clip, is we've got what Fran had to say after her victory, or what she has as aspirations for the future.
I'd like to start getting titles towards the end of the year. Maybe nice English, I don't know, British. I can't actually get British, I'm not 21 yet, but yeah, belts like that I'd like to start getting towards the end of the year.
So it's quite a bold claim that she wants to she's already looking for titles. I mean, it's easy to forget she's only 19 years old. Like she said, she can't actually physically win the British. She only turned 18, I think, at the back end of last year. So she
made a pro
She
debut
turned at 18. She was signed
Wow.
at 18 by Boxer. So she's not going to be, she couldn't even win the British belt until 2020, end of 2025, maybe. Just the end of 2025.
It's too early in the morning for
it would have to be like December 2025 is the earliest she could do that.
Wow.
I think she said before the fight she wants to become the youngest world champion.
She's on track for that, ain't she?
She certainly started early. What does she need to do to get there, though? Does she need to, have a couple more fights to build herself? Or does she need to start testing herself now as early as possible with some people that have some winning records and have some what's the word I'm looking for? That have some respect that come with beating them? Or do you think she still needs to build herself a little bit before she's ready for that?
Keep building herself. There's no need to rush her, is there? As you said, I think end of 2025 for a British title. Let's not fast track her like we fast tracked the brother, Michael Hennessy Jr. Look at where he is now. You haven't heard of him since he lost to Joe Laws. He's lost against a journeyman because they were stepping him up too quickly, in my opinion. Let's bring her back down to earth and calm down and give her another what's she on now? 3-0?
3-0, yeah.
1 KO. Let's bring in those stoppages to prove to people, she's got the power. And then maybe when she gets to 9-10-0, by the middle of next year, she can start talking about titles.
But then I think it's slightly difficult because I think often with women's boxing it happens a little bit quicker. There's less fighters out there, and you look at Caroline Dubois got a world title and she was 8-0 going into that fight. And she was already defending her world title. So realistically, one more fight number 5 for the English, and then where's she going?
She's going to be defending her English title all the time,
and then
losing out on international fighters.
It's the frustrating thing about her age is that she can't get that British title that then makes the natural progression. Maybe she just skips it out, goes straight to European.
It's mad to think that she's the same age as us, and she's got.
Same age as us. She's what?
Oh, me. Sorry, not me. Sorry,
7 years.
Boys. Sorry, boys.
She's younger than you, I think.
She?
No, she must be same. If she turned 18 in
December,
in like the end of the year, then she'd be younger than you, right? She'd be a school year younger, right? Or just old for that year. I might be wrong.
It's making me feel old, yeah, boys.
Making you feel old.
I know.
Hang on.
I'm 21. I could win the British title. Well, there's a slight.
I can't win the British title.
There's a slight problem.
I think I can win the Texas light heavyweight belt though. So.
I think Ben's got that one on lock.
I'm still training for that, so
you'd have to beat him.
We'll just
first.
see over the summer. Ben, where have you gone on holidays? I went to Texas.
I went to Texas. I wonder why.
I can't believe though you have to be 21 to win a British title.
Yeah, it's bizarre.
If you're good enough, I think it shouldn't be about age. If you're good enough to go for a British title, you should go for it.
yeah. I wonder what the reasoning is behind that.
I don't know. Very
Health
bizarre.
and safety issues, maybe. I don't know.
Maybe I'll have to ask my ancestor, who was the first one to win it.
They're throwing
There you
punches at each other. It's not going to matter if you're 18 or 21.
Well, you saw 15-year-old Mike Tyson scrap a bloke. So if you're good enough to do it, you're good enough to win it. But
It's just British boxing though, ain't it? They got some weird laws and rules, so
never mind. And then moving on to another British boxing, or this British boxer's fighting at world level. This one, Chris Billam-Smith Riakporhe was announced as part of the event. And they had him a little back and forth on the side of the ring, which was quite interesting, and maybe has some talking points from it.
It's a fight that everyone's been calling for. It's nearly happened a couple of times prior to this, but now we've got it on, and I'm so excited.
I'm going to put you on the spot now, both of you. Predictions. Chris, how do you see this one going?
I know where I'm at now. The first fight was razor close, and that was at 10% of where I'm at now. Richard's improved, but he has not improved anywhere near what I have. And
what are you talking about? What are you talking about?
What?
You're saying I haven't improved?
No, I just said you have improved. Listen.
But what? To what percent?
But not as much as I have. That's what I said.
Oh, you're deluded.
So obviously at the end there, there was a bit of a back and forth, and we cut off some of the rest of it, but it got quite heated between the two of them.
Pressured him, didn't he?
He did a bit. Riakporhe stuck it to him, called him deluded, because Chris Billum-Smith thinks he's improved more since they last fought, and obviously Riakporhe gave him his only loss on his record. It's an exciting fight, I think. I think Ben's, gone out and fairly confidently says he thinks Riakporhe beats him. Yeah. In his rankings, he ranked Riakporhe 4th, I think, and Chris Billum-Smith 8th.
Wow.
So there's no doubt that Billum-Smith has improved, and obviously he's a world champion. You don't become a world champion by being a mug, but I don't know. I just still think Riakporhe will get the better of him.
It's in your back of your head, ain't it?
Yeah, obviously he's lost to him before, and I'm more than happy for him to go and prove me wrong, but I don't know. I think Riakporhe will do him again if I was going to make my prediction now.
Yeah,
wow. What a statement.
I think the problem I have is Billum-Smith didn't look quite that impressive against Masternak, and Masternak had an injury on the night, which obviously Billum-Smith targeted and got the finish. So, if he'd won that fight with a bit more confidence or a bit in more impressive a manner, maybe we'd be talking differently. And obviously he lost the Intercontinental Cruiserweight to Richard Riakporhe back in 2019. That does play on your mind when you go into a fight knowing you've lost or knowing you've won a fight. It's certainly an interesting one to look out for, and did they mention where it was going to be?
They haven't given a date.
I was about to say, but it's part of the Bad Blood series. So they're trying to copy a bit of Our Excellency Turki Al-Sheikh.
Stop calling him Our Excellency.
His Excellency. His Excellency Turki Al-Sheikh.
I want to get cancelled.
The Bad Blood series, because obviously at the weekend as well, we're going to talk about it in a bit, but Wardley and Frazer Clarke was announced. It's part of that Bad Blood series. That's a tongue twister and a half.
It is a tongue twister.
What a fight though, ain't it? Let's be honest, we love these British domestic. Oh, they're so good, aren't they? They bring the best out of each other.
It's definitely going to be a good
It's
scrap.
much better when you're talking at this level, and either Billum-Smith or Riakporhe certainly is deserving of a world title, or being at that level. So when you get to see them clash against one another, and then the winner of that maybe gets to fight Jai Opetaia at some point, and he's tied up quite a lot over in Saudi Arabia. So maybe that's Ben Shalom's way into the Saudi market. Who knows?
It could be.
But it's certainly an exciting a fight going forward.
Either of you two want to give a prediction, or
Richard Riakporhe, I think.
I will be different because I like Chris Billum-Smith. So yeah, Chris Billum-Smith, just because of who he's fought last. Lawrence Okoli, forget about Masternak for a minute, but yeah, Chris Billum-Smith, I think stops him as well because he's a different fighter now. But yeah,
I do think it's
But
fair
does
to
it
say,
happen? Sorry, does it happen in a stadium, or do they go back to that Bournemouth International?
Selhurst Park, probably.
Really?
Yeah, there was I think
well, saying that, Billum-Smith's the champion, so
I think
A-side.
Ben Shalom has talked about wanting a card in Selhurst Park. Maybe you could team that up with Joshua Buatsi.
Yeah.
Joshua Buatsi, Anthony Yard, obviously South London clash in Selhurst Park. Chris Billum-Smith, Richard Riakporhe. I mean, that would be one hell of a card. That
you get a good atmosphere there as well.
Better than the Bournemouth International Centre, ain't it? With only like 10,000 there, if that.
You could have Richard Riakporhe and CBS as the main event, and then after it, Buatsi, Anthony Yard as like the people's main event, like Boxer have sometimes done. That could be an interesting.
Quite surprised they didn't do that on Saturday night.
Yeah, that was interesting, but I suppose Buatsi Azeez was the fight that had the most sort of interest for it, so they wanted to put that last, and then Adam Azim was obviously fighting for a belt before it. I don't know who else you could put at the end. I think if you've just watched that Buatsi Azeez fight, you're not going to want to watch Whittaker dance around the ring. Do you know what I mean? I think
if you're going to do it, you need a fighter with a big following, like we've seen before with like Nathan Heaney. You need people who are going to stick about and still watch the fight. You don't want to have a main event fight that after people have left the arena. So
yeah, and then moving on, we've got quickly Ben Shalom talking about Ben Whittaker, and he had some fairly comprehensive things to say about the ex-Olympic boxer, and seems to think he's right up there with some of the best.
Quick one with Ben Shalom. Must be delighted. I mean, he's always going to turn heads and he's always going to divide, but he's always going to divide and conquer as well.
He's a born entertainer. He's a generational talent. We've had people talk about Khalid Gradia. We've had him in there with Dan Azeez. We've seen him in there with Zach Parker and Atama. No one's done it like that. That was surgical, as you said. It was mastery, and there's no one with more potential in the UK than Ben Whittaker. It's a simple fact like that, and very proud of him, very active, and a great year ahead.
Now, obviously, that was quite enigmatic from Ben Shalom and very passionate, and he is his promoter. It's his job to do so. How much of that do you think is realistic in terms of, generational talent, one of the most promising fighters in the UK, or how much of that is maybe a little bit too far? What's your guys' thoughts?
Well, there's no doubt with the skill level he's got, if he can continue to win fights that comfortably, he probably is going to be one of the best in the UK. Like, there's not many other UK fighters that make their fights look as easy as what he does.
I don't know what to say. Listen, he's good to watch, let's say that, but he's not going to do... If he does that against someone who's a world champion... Because people are going to be tuning in now. I think what he's doing is smart, because he's going to get a lot more eyeballs on him, because some people don't like the way he's coming boxing with dancing and feinting and all that, whatever. And people aren't going to like that, so they're going to tune in to see him maybe get knocked out. So he's got a lot of eyeballs on him. And
He did also say, I think, after his fight that he's obviously showboating or he's confident now, but when he goes up, he said when he goes up against a higher level of opponent, he's got the skill and the different sort of attributes to be able to mix it up and win fights however needs to be. So if they put him in there with tougher tests and he can go in there against, like, say they stuck him in there against Dan Azeez and he beat Dan Azeez comfortably, then you've got to give him credit then. Like, he could be stepping up to world title level fights.
Yeah, I think what you got to remember as well is this is someone who won silver medal at Tokyo 2020, 2021 it was in the end. Lost to a 30-year-old Cuban fighter who's not gone on to have such a good professional career, but is a really highly thought of amateur, and he won the gold medal. And I've watched those Olympic fights, or a number of those Olympic fights, and it was the same, but there was none of the spinning and these silly things, but the footwork and the head movement and the sort of bizarre ways he avoids punches was very much the same, and the refs were getting just as pissed off with him at Olympic level as well. So I think to say that he's not going to be the same when he fights someone big is probably unfair. He will be Ben Whittaker. He will be, bizarre, this weird style that seems to work for him. But like you say, he won't be, dancing, or he won't be, because they will just, realistically, if you're like we said, Artur Beterbiev, and you've got that in front of you, and you're relentless pace, you haven't got time to dance, because Beterbiev will flatten you. But that being said, the power he shows and the accuracy of the punches he shows when he is knuckling down and boxing,
so quick,
it's quite frightening at times. Yeah. It really, really is. And then moving on to our sort of main talking point of the card, which you've sort of mentioned, Fabio, Wardley, Frazer, Clarke has been announced for the British and Commonwealth belts on the 31st of March at the O2.
O2?
At the O2 Arena. It says on the fight poster.
They're going big. Yeah, but it's at the O2 Theatre.
It says at the O2 London. So as far as I can tell, it's going to be at the O2 rather than the O2.
Both fighters aren't from London, are they? I don't think Frazer Clarke... Is Frazer Clarke from London? Oh, okay, so that's...
But, it's a bit...
Wardley's Ipswich, though, ain't he? I swear.
I think so.
Quite surprised they haven't put that in Ipswich Stadium.
It's a big Portman Road. Maybe there's some issues with the football.
That's the name, Portman Road.
Yeah, and maybe even if Ipswich do get promoted, that they'll be doing work to get them to the Premier League ready for that stadium. So that maybe that's their thinking in that. But obviously Fabio Wardley beat David Adelaide in Saudi Arabia.
Didn't beat him, he battered him, didn't he?
Comes in a 17-0 record. He's a top heavyweight that's coming up, and probably one of the best British heavyweights outside of the sort of big names that we're all often talking about. Frazer Clarke ranked 7th on BoxRec, only 8-0, but I think he's another one where you're like, he's really just on the edge of that top end heavyweight boxers. How excited are you, for the clash? It's going to be a big fight.
It's a breakthrough fight for Frazer Clarke. I think if he can win this, it'll put him right in the mix to step up. But Fabio Wardley is going to be a tough fight for him, I think.
Mm-hmm. Well, Fabio Wardley, I think, is thinking that this is a massive step down because of the record difference. But yeah, Frazer Clarke, who used to be a security guard, he's been around boxing for years, and he's a good amateur. I think he was also at the Olympics when he was GB. Olympics. So yeah, it's a good matchup. Fair play for boxer. They've done it right with this fight because it's another 50-50 one. And you always like these British fights where they're 50-50, not one-sided. Like maybe the Chris Billam-Smith, Richard Riakporhe, but...
Yeah, I think the... Good one. For Riakporhe, right?
What? No, CBS.
The Frazer Clarke is another one who's got a great nickname as well. Do you know what his nickname is?
You and your nicknames. Well, that's all you look for.
Yeah, but it's good. It's good fun.
If you ever did a report for boxing, you wouldn't name them by their names. You just have the Bison or the Bromford Bull.
Well, you should name them fully on the first time and then, nicknames after.
All right.
The Frazer, the Eraser Clarke.
The Eraser.
That's good.
Wow.
That's good. It rhymes.
Okay.
He's I don't know.
How long does it take for a boxer to think of a nickname as well?
I reckon they do it quite quickly. I think it's like I don't know, maybe they work through a couple.
Sam Hill.
I'd think I'd go for...
Sam the Pill Hill.
No. The Sniper.
Sam the Sniper Hill.
Ooh. That's not bad. I got long arms, so it's, coming from a distance, you don't see it coming. I can't... I kind of feel like Mr. Tickle. That's why...
Harry the Hazard.
The Hazard.
Yeah.
What kind of hazard, though?
My big right hand.
Like a biohazard, Eden, Thorgan.
Toxic hazard.
Toxic.
Yeah. What about Ben? Ben. What could Ben's
nickname
be?
For Lil Ben.
Not Big Ben. No, someone's called Big Ben.
Big Ben's the other Ben Thomas.
Yeah.
The other Ben Thomas is Big Ben, and we've got Lil Ben. But no.
Little Ben. You've done him dirty there.
Ben.
No, when I've got that Texas heavyweight.
You had
Thomas. So fucking rhyme.
Jimmy Wild,
your mate,
was called the Merthyr Matchstick. So maybe you could be the Merthyr Meathead. Go on the opposite side of the spectrum. Because after I accused you of being a super heavyweight a few episodes ago, instead of is it light heavyweight? I think is what I meant.
Yeah.
You and Ben Whittaker, you called out.
Yeah.
Do you stand by that? Do you still reckon you could batter him?
Yeah. If he wants a real test next.
Funny thing was, I'm pretty sure you said that you just wouldn't let him dance. You would just sprint.
You'd just stand there.
I'll get my money, get knocked out. Happy days.
Yeah, fair enough. Like Ben with Jarrell Miller. The Merthyr Meathead's pretty good.
That's actually quite catchy.
You got the Merthyr Mexican. Yeah. Obviously Gavin Gwynn. The Merthyr Meathead, Ben Thomas.
Meathead. I like that.
Runs head first into his opponents.
That's your new nickname now.
Yeah, see if we can get on this Fabio Wardley undercard.
In the O2.
The Merthyr Meathead.
Why don't we just set up a camera on a tripod in the Penny Darren Park and you just offer someone out and Merthyr dances?
Offer the old man who owns the shop out. Oi.
Hey, come find my mate, the Merthyr Meathead. He's down Penny Darren Park.
Mr. Merthyr Meathead.
Winner gets a sausage, curry and cob.
What
sorted.
A nickname. We are selling Ben here, mine, as an actual boxer.
Yeah.
Have you ever done boxing before, Ben?
No, not really.
Have you ever punched a man?
I'm happy to give it a go.
We should do it.
That should be your
No, we need to do it. Need to get you guys in the gym.
Yeah,
down St. Joseph's, we'll get Tony Borg to give you a lesson.
Yeah, get us signed up, have a fight.
Skip. I'll be cameraman that day, and I'll be the interviewer person.
I'll do it. Me and Ben will have a spar then, we'll do that.
Okay. Yeah, for the Punctures Chance podcast. Yeah. You two go.
Sparring session.
Okay.
Light work.
I like that. The meathead against the sniper.
Yeah.
Let's get it. Let's make it happen.
Have to get
Bad blood.
I have to get my bulk on, but never mind. And then and then to preview next weekend's fights, we've obviously got to start off with Carol Itoma fighting Eros Segeti. Now, when I saw Carol Itoma, I don't know why I thought he was Moses Itoma's younger brother, but obviously Itoma's only like 19.
His older brother.
So he's his older brother. 11-1 against 10-0 and 1, so a draw in there. Yeah, light heavy to open up the evening. Is that, it's an interesting way to start the event that's in the Copper Box this Saturday. It's going to be a good fight, do you think?
It's going to be a long night, because you were saying how many fights are there?
Oh my god, there's so many fights.
I can't see all of them being on TV. It's probably going to be a few.
I haven't included all of them in that. Because
I was about to say there's 1, 2,
Sam
3,
King,
4.
Charlie Hickford, Billy Adams, all having their second pro fight, so I'm guessing they're going to be early on in the night.
I've gone for all of the ones in which
big names
both fighters have a winning record.
Yeah.
Because obviously those first 4 fights is 3 people having their second fight, and then Umar Khan, who is a very good boxer, up and coming, featherweight, 8-0, but he's fighting at 10-14-0. So I think we know how that one's going. Have we got faith in Karol Atoma to get the victory over Eros Seghetti?
What a name.
Eros coming up against
Eros Spaghetti Seghetti.
That's a good nickname. It's not his nickname, unfortunately.
What's his nickname?
He hasn't got one.
He hasn't got a nickname. What's he doing? That's the first thing as a boxer you go for.
That is what I go for anyway.
Another easy night for Karol Atoma.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, you never know. Italian fighter.
Never bloody Italian.
We've seen the Italians cause a few problems for us, but never. I don't think they've ever got the victory, fortunately.
No.
Because Sylvia Bortort, was she Italian? I think she
against
was.
Lauren Price.
Against Lauren Price, and then obviously the main
Marcelli
man,
was causing a lot of
Emiliano
trouble for
Marcelli.
Gwen Winnie.
What a man. Would you fight Marcelli, Ben?
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, why not?
Basically fighting everyone else.
Yeah.
Tyson Fury?
Why not? You'll be like
Prime time Mike Tyson? Yeah, why not?
You'll be like Grey Dia, the most active man in boxing. He's fought twice already this year. Ben's already got like 4 scraps lined up against Ben Thomas, Ben Whittaker. Who else?
We'll put him in with
some
Tyson.
guy from
Alexander Usyk needs an opponent February 17th.
He might do. May do. Anthony Yarde's obviously fighting on the next one against Marko Nikolic, 32-3. Another light heavy clash. Obviously Anthony Yarde 24-3. So in terms of records, it looks fairly evenly stacked. But you'd hope certainly it's not going to be that. Anthony Yarde's being tipped to fight people like Callum Smith and Joshua Buatsi. But obviously this is a fight I think just to get him back in the ring and get him back fighting and get him ready. Do we see it being just another good victory?
Whereas only 3 loss that he's had is against Beterbiev. He was stopped by Sergey Kovalev in round 11 over in Russia, and I don't know if you boys remember that, but he looked out of his feet on like round 8 because he's never been past. He's never been in a long distance fight, and he also lost to Lyndon Arthur. But his last fight he won via a second round knockout against Jorge Silva. Now that's an easy name to pronounce. But he's coming up against, I don't know if you boys are doing your research, a Serbian light heavyweight champion.
Yeah.
In Marko Nikolic.
Nikolic.
32-3 as well. Fair play to the bloke. He's fought more than Ben.
Yes, he's a busy guy.
That's a surprise.
Busy guy.
That's a surprise.
He's the top. He's the top.
He's the best Serbian.
Croatian, Serbian. Light heavyweight. 175th ranked in the world, which seems a bit harsh for 32-3. I presume he's only fought.
I think it's his first
Europe
fight in the UK.
They don't tend to rank people particularly high until they do so. But I think it might be one that we see is a difficult night for Anthony Yarde. But I'm certainly hoping he gets the victory in that one.
Yeah, I think it's just a build up for him and get some rounds in the belt, and
he's been talked about for the Matchroom card as well, ain't he? So
I think the next route is either him and Callum Smith on that card, or him and Buatsi.
Another good fight.
Yeah, and then moving on up, you've got
then the meathead Ben Thomas after that.
Of course, against everyone. We'll just put that. You got Masoud Abdullah fighting against Kais Ashfaq. Abdullah's a really highly thought of British up and coming featherweight. I believe he is 9-0 even. Sorry, a really impressive fighter. I don't know if you boys have seen any of his fights previously.
Good. He's a good fighter. Exciting. I think, all of his fights have been either TKO or his opponent's retired. I don't know if I've put that down in notes, but I think that might be for the co-main event as I say that now.
Possibly.
But Ashfaq, is that how we're going for?
Yeah.
His last fight was against Liam Dillon.
Yeah.
And I think Liam Dillon's also fighting this weekend on another card for DAZN that we haven't talked about because it's not really a big fight because it's next gen. But he was down once in the 4th and once in the 9th with both boxers being cut. And I thought, Kais Ashfaq from Leeds as well.
Have you seen where he fought one of his fights? In the Leeds United banqueting suite in Ellen Road. He fought in the conference bit where they have all the meals. for Ellen Road. So he's fought in Ellen Road. So as far as I'm concerned, Qais Ashfaq is going to get a comfortable victory, obviously.
Definitely not biased there.
No, absolutely not. No, when you look at him, obviously he's 12-12 up against a 9-0 featherweight that's been really
12-12.
12-2. Sorry, he's not 12-12. I think he's a super featherweight normally.
Yeah, he's
Ashfaq. So maybe he's dropping down a bit in weight. Might be quite big for the weight. I don't know. It's going to be an interesting fight. I do see Masoud Abdullah winning it, but that's what my head's saying. But my heart's telling me Qais Ashfaq from Leeds is going to fight, and he's going to win.
Okay, Abdullah. He beat Mark Leach last time out, who had beaten Ashfaq back in 2020 in Peterborough. So, yeah, I'm not being funny. He's been a bit biased here. I don't know if you agree with me, Ben, but yeah, Masoud Abdullah in for an easy night, I think, against the Leeds man.
Yeah, I think we're both going against Sam this time.
It's never an easy night against someone from Leeds.
You're talking from the heart instead of your boxing brain.
Absolutely, yeah. And then moving on up, we got Sam Noakes fighting Lewis Sylvester for the Commonwealth and the WBC International silver lightweight. Obviously, that's 12-0 versus 13-0.
This is the fighter that all of his fights have either been TKO or his opponents.
Yeah, he's a serious problem, Sam Noakes. I think that was it the Magnificent Seven card he fought on? Or was it
so many fights on that Magnificent Seven card, if you can remember all the names.
Or was it the undercard? He fought Carlos Perez, quite a difficult Spanish fighter, and absolutely... No, it was on Gavin Gwynn undercard, that was it. And he absolutely battered him. I mean, really, really battered him. So I'm really looking forward to watching Sam fight again, and I'm really hoping he gets the victory and pushes on to bigger and better things, because, with a 12-0 record and, like you said, 12 finishes, that's quite special.
Get the world title on him next.
Yeah, with 12-0 against 13-0 was going to be a good scrap, and I was having a quick look. Could possibly get the winner of this against the winner of Gavin Gwynn and Mark Chamberlain, possibly.
Yeah, or even the loser of that fight, possibly,
Yeah, build them up.
But if it's Sam Noakes up against Gavin Gwynn
in Cardiff,
Penny Darren Parkinson.
Yeah, Penny Darren.
I know, my football knowledge is up there, boys.
I've already said it this episode. That's cheating.
Damn, he remembered.
Yeah, I'm not silly.
With the meathead on the undercard as well.
Unbelievable. What a card that'd be.
I only do main events.
Fair enough. Are we discounting Lewis Sylvester slightly, because obviously Sam Noakes is quite an exciting fighter with that knockout rating? Obviously Sylvester's 13-0. You don't get to 13-0 by mistake, and he's beaten some fighters with those before with some zeros, and he is the English. I think he won the English light heavyweight, and he won the Commonwealth as well, which is what he's fighting for. So he's an impressive fighter at just 25. Is it going to be a tough night for Sam Noakes, or do you think he's going to be too much?
Yeah, it's not going to be an easy fight. You don't go 13-0 by being a bad fighter. I think it's just the interesting thing is with Noakes is obviously being 12-0 all with knockout or TKO wins. Just makes you a bit more, I think, excited to watch him and see if he can carry it on. But it is possibly his toughest test yet.
Yeah. Well, you look at not Sam Noakes, bloody Lewis Sylvester's last couple of fights where he's fought Rotherham, Magna Centre, Sheffield Arena, which is, I want to say, quite small if I remember from the darts, Doncaster Dome back-to-back, City Hall in Hull. So he hasn't really fought anywhere big yet. So this is probably his biggest step up in his boxing career as a 13-0. So, yeah, I think Sam Noakes, easy winner here. And we can quickly get into the main event, because this main event is so good.
Yeah, it's an exciting one. Obviously, we've got Hamzah Sheeraz versus Liam Williams. Hamzah Sheeraz 18-0. Liam Williams 25-4, but that 4 comes at the hands of Demetrius Andrade, Chris Eubank Jr., and then Liam Smith twice. So it's hardly like he's got a losing record against journeymans.
All in the backyards of the other opponents, ain't it?
Yeah, he's happy to travel to others, and
all Welsh guys are happy to travel, I think. You've seen Lee Selby at the back end of his career. He went over to bloody Argentina to either defend or win a world title. Obviously fell short.
Went to Ellen Road to fight Josh Warrington in his own yard.
Of course he brings that up.
Well, you have to. But you've got that's some respect with the way Josh Warrington had positioned himself within Leeds at the time, getting Leeds players out to walk to him with the ring. to go into Ellen Road at that time
with the Kaiser Chiefs as well, weren't it?
Exactly. It was it was a proper Lions Den, and fair play to Selby for being willing to do so. I won't say what happened on the night.
He won.
But this one, I really hope Liam Williams wins.
Yeah.
I do think Sheeraz is the favourite going
Sheeraz
into this
is coming
one.
into this fight on a 12-fight KO streak, and he has only 4 of those stoppages stretched past the midway mark. 6 coming in rounds 1 and 2. So he's a quick starter. So Liam Williams needs to be on it from the first bell. So
well, Liam Williams' last 2 fights was it been first and second round knockouts.
but they're not same as Sheeraz. They're not really big names, are they? They're just keeping them warm.
Yeah, it's got knockout power though, Liam Williams.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, Hamzah Sheeraz also beat Bradley Skeet for the European, who's Fran Hennessy's trainer.
Oh, wow.
And he's now training. I think he trained someone else, but I can't remember. There's another name he trains. But yeah, Sheeraz is impressive and one to be
it's a step up though.
Scared for. But like you say, Liam Williams is a big fight, so it's going to be an interesting clash. We'll go for predictions, Harry. Who are you backing in this one?
You have to back the Welshman, don't you? Liam Williams, obviously.
And Ben?
Yeah, I'm going Liam Williams.
Are we going to do round finishes, stoppages, points?
I really want Liam Williams to win.
Don't be different.
I am going to have to say Hamzah Sheeraz is going to win. I think Hamzah Sheeraz is going to win by a
don't say he's going to stop him.
6th round knockout. TKO. Same difference.
This is a big step up mine though. Liam Williams, former British and Commonwealth champion, so
it's a good test for Sheeraz, and I think it's if he wins this one, then you seriously have to start looking at him at getting some big fights. But I just see him being maybe a little bit too much for Liam Williams.
The thing for Williams is he keeps fluttering at the last hurdle when he gets these big world title fights. So he always seems to come up short, which is unlucky. But he's not from your neck of the woods, is he? Clydac, where
down the Ronda the way he's from. Yeah.
I love how Ben says down the Ronda, and to me and you, Sam, that's up the Ronda.
I was going to say that's up. That is up from us here.
So I can't. 6th round. Wow. An
There you
early
go.
night then, Ben. Sam, you're thinking?
Well, not after the other fights, but yeah. What's your thoughts on it? Are you going second round, whatever?
Liam Williams. Experience.
I'll go Liam Williams late. Is it 12 rounds?
It has to be 12 rounds, surely.
I'll go Liam Williams 11th.
Yeah. Late finish.
12 rounds, yeah.
Late finish.
Fair enough. You've both gone
10th round.
10th, 11th round, and then
will be different.
The big fight that's happening actually on Thursday. Teofimo Lopez,
fight night.
Jermaine Ortiz for the World Superlight Championship. Do you think Teofimo Lopez? Oh my God, I've bruised. That was awful. Teofimo Lopez is going to have an easy night, or do you think it's going to be a tough test for him? How do you see that fight going?
It's an easy night for Teofimo Lopez.
Do you think so?
Yeah. Well, look at his last fight for Teofimo Lopez. Well, this is what I wrote down. I could be wrong. But his last fight was against former undisputed champion Josh Taylor, where he captured the WBO and Ring Magazine titles back in June. So how many months ago was that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7 months ago.
Good
maths. My maths. Oh, I don't know about that.
Unbelievable.
But he's competing in his first world title bout. So Ortiz, he's competing in his first world title bout.
He's only lost to Lomachenko though.
But that's again, like as we talked about Liam Williams, that's okay to say that you've lost to people like that because you didn't really have a chance at the first place. But have you seen his nickname?
The Technician.
I know.
Of course I knew that.
I got that down because I knew that
Teofimo the Takeover Lopez versus Jermaine.
That's all he's got in his notes. Fine.
Ortiz.
Me and you have got all the boxing facts. All he's got is
I haven't got notes.
The nickname.
I don't take notes. It's all up here. It's all up here. But yeah, Teofimo Lopez, if he wins this fight, you got to start,
chuck him back in with George Kambosos Jr. then.
Yeah. Possibly, or maybe even someone like Regis Prograis or Rolly Romero, maybe even Ryan Garcia. There's a lot of American fighters in and around, that weight category. I'm not saying, Ryan Garcia seems to be the most desperate man to fight in the world and just can't get anyone to fight him at the minute.
No one's going to fight Ryan Garcia because of one thing, and that's Oscar De La Hoya. I think we can all agree on that.
Possibly.
Because he bigs him up too much.
Possibly. But yeah, I think Teofimo Lopez, if he does win this fight, he's got that world title. And then that gives you a lot of pulling power. Does he get the Devin Haney fight? Well, Haney, if Gervonta Davis and Conor Benn fight or whatever happens, I think there's some interesting implications from this fight though I do think it will be maybe slightly one-sided for Teofimo Lopez. I see him getting a fairly comfortable victory.
Yeah.
You disagreeing with us,
Title
Ben?
Thursday. Oh.
No, I go Lopez victory, but I don't know if it'll be quite as easy as you might be expecting.
Fair enough.
You boys going to be staying up and... No.
Absolutely
Title
not.
Thursday for the first time in 2024. You're not going to
Actually, it's a Thursday. I might actually. No, I won't. Realistically, I'll say that I won't. But I'll watch it on Friday.
I think I'll be setting my alarm for when I wake up Friday morning, get up a little bit earlier and have my breakfast whilst watching it.
Yeah, true. Could do.
My Rice Krispies watching it. We also haven't talked about the Matchroom card. It's not as big as we all compared to these two fight nights, but Liam Dillon, who's 13-0 with 3 KOs, is fighting for the British Commonwealth super featherweight title. He's defending against Azeez Bellotti. Shannon Ryan is fighting for the British and Commonwealth super flyweight title against Emma Dolan. Cameron Young or Vion is that? It's
Cameron Vuong. It's Vuong.
Oh,
He's a good fighter.
Ishmael Ellis, he's fighting. Maisie Rose Courtney, Jasmine. Why do they have to put someone's name that is Zabtobchutskana? Yeah. John Hedges as well. He's an exciting fighter. He is John Hedges. So that's another fight that Craig Richards. That's not the Craig Richards that we all know, is it? He's Craig Richards.
I'm not sure.
I doubt him. No,
I don't see a Craig Richards on the card.
He's right at the bottom, so I doubt it's the Craig Richards we're all thinking about.
Don't know. I think, it's another interesting card. I mean, it's a shame it's this week because we've got, just so much going on.
It's a shame that this one's on my subscription and the Sheeraz and Williams one isn't on my subscription.
Back into Weatherspoons we go.
I know.
For that one.
Reloading and praying that the Wi-Fi doesn't go or we don't have to refresh the website.
Never.
That's the worst thing, when it pauses for like 5 seconds, comes back, and then the opponent's on the floor.
Yeah, it always happens.
That's the worst thing.
It always happens like that. But yeah, like I said, it's a mad busy week of boxing, and so much so we're doing an extra episode, like I said, which will be coming this Wednesday, Thursday. I can't remember which one. But that'll be about all the Saudi Arabia stuff. I don't think we've got time for the Matchroom predictions. So what we'll just say is that we got them all right. When you listen to this next week, we got them all right, and we all agreed on the right answer.
We did.
We happy with that?
Yeah, all good.
Fair enough. So if you haven't already listened to some of our previous episodes, like I said, we got that interview with Jared Parry, very interesting episode. Or if you're listening on YouTube or Spotify, or vice versa, we're available on the other platforms if you prefer. And then on Twitter as well, we got all the reactions, all the updates, some match previews, some fight previews, all the best content, everything you could ever need is available on the Twitter, or the YouTube, or the Spotify. So thank you all for tuning in, and we'll catch you in another episode.